Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
PremierBilliards.com. Exceptional cues, cases, and accessories from top-tier brands. Want it? Need it? Find it. PremierBilliards.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Dogging It. Molina Mike here, and we got a couple of special guests out from Saudi Arabia that I'm going to be bringing in momentarily. The World Championships are underway, and we had a fun show jumping into going over the matches last night with Raymond, which we're going to do the same again tonight, Ray and I. So I'm looking forward to that. But day two is just as exciting as day one was. So I'm excited to talk some of the matches, some of the action, the upsets, etc. A bit of a scoreboard update for you guys. I was just looking at the loser side round has just started, and it looks like Sky's down 4-2 to Riku. So something to keep an eye on as the next hour kind of develops. But anyhow, let me bring in my guests. One of them's a Hall of Famer. One of them will, I'm sure, at some point be a Hall of Famer. We got Sam and Mike via Saudi Arabia. Boys, how are you? And thanks for making time for us.
Hey, Mike.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Everything's good. Yeah.
Sam, I want to start with you. Talk to me about the vibe out there and the excitement from the fans, maybe some of the locals, and just what the arena is like out there for all you guys.
All right, as you might know, I have to bring this to perspective, Mike. This is a part of a major string that Saudi Arabia is doing. They're hosting major world sporting events, and since 2018, this has been more than 100 world global sports, from Formula One to tennis to boxing and now pool. And with people turning up, over 3 million people coming into these sports collectively. Pool is no difference. Now Saudi Arabia has been putting a focus from the Ministry of Sport, from the Pool and Snooker Federation. And this 10 years is going to be big for the pool scene. If we're talking about the venue, it's been immaculate. It's pretty compact compared to other venues, as I understand from the players, but everything has been so far so great. And as we speak now, we're gone to the losers session, so the heat is slightly rising, intensing up.
Yeah. Mike, what about you, Mike? I saw that photo you took of the media room. How have you been putting on the pounds, buddy, since you got there?
You get real credentials with old photos on it, like Feder and Josh on the EPBF website. But
does it say Hall of Fame, Mike, or do we got to go and make some phone calls to make sure it says Hall of Famer on there?
I'm gonna respect. To, start swinging some weight around here. But no, a real media room with tables and Wi-Fi connection and places to plug in, and food and coffee and Middle Eastern delicacies. It's great. I told Emily, I said, I got to be honest with you, going to any of your other events, can you get kind of boring after this? So, no, it's great. And the venue is, the way it's organized is compact, but it's a big venue. Don't get the impression that compact means that it's small. It's big. It's just really well organized so that things do seem a little bit closer, a little bit tighter. The arenas and the center stage podium and all that kind of stuff. It's really the slickest arena by far that they put together, which is not surprising. As Sam mentioned, Ministry of Sports involved is a 10-year deal, and Matchroom already does a great job putting, events together. So you take that energy and that knowledge, and you add, Saudi Sports Ministry money to it, and it kind of just, everything just jumps a level. So it's really spectacular setup.
What's the tension like in the room? Because I know from home, I'm sweating scoreboards. I'm seeing guys, big names go on one loss side. Like, what's it like out there with the players and everything already tightened up, even on day two?
You could tell before it even started, the day before it started, you could just feel a little nervous energy with everybody. They know that the stakes are higher, not just money, titles. It's just, they know that this is the next big step, and everybody wants to be part of it. Everybody wants to be the one that won the first one, and it just, you could tell from the players there was a lot more excitement and little more anxiety than usual. And when you have 128 players and 100, qualify the top players that you've had for the past year and a half, there are no easy matches. It was the first round was gonna be, dangerous for a lot of these top guys, and it's proven to be that way. There were a couple guys who barely escaped, a couple guys who didn't escape. So it's what an event like this should be.
What stood out to you, Sam, starting off the first few days when it comes to matches and upsets and things like that when it comes to competition?
Uh, I look at both sides of the players. We have the ranked international ones, but then we have the local players. So yesterday it was one of the games, like it was late night when one of the Saudi players, Abdullah Shamri, has made it and won against David Al Qaidi, and that was a bit of a surprise, but it was a good roll. And I saw one game. It was one of the beginning games with Copen Ye and Ignacio. That one went on a hill, and it was heat around there. From there, the matches I've seen, I haven't seen the heat yet. It was easy wins, and it was easy to predict, like the Sanchez's and Shane Van Bonings. But as we go on, I expect the heat to build up.
We saw Federer go down in round one, Sky go
Yeah,
down in round
yeah, yeah.
one. I think Federer was down 5-2 to Joao. I know he ended up winning 9-5, but he had a little bit of a sweater in his match. Mike, what say you when it comes to some of these top guys, and why do you think that we're seeing some of these bigger names get sent to the one loss side so early when Carlos fighting for his life right now?
Yeah, well, it's um, you don't get a lot of opportunities here to slip up, and you know that the heat's on right from the first match,
Right.
and they've all traveled, they're all getting used to equipment. It's cold in the arena, it's whatever it is. That first match is always a tester, and you love to have a stiff the first match, but in a 128 man field with all these invited players, there's not too many slouches. I mean, you're supposed to win. You're a favorite in a lot of these matches, but these guys can all play good pool here. I mean, and you look at Sky, you look at Beato, you look at Federer. They didn't just get beat; they got pounded, all
Yeah.
of them. There weren't any 9-8. Someone got a little lucky. They got pounded pretty good. So there's a lot of guys, and a lot of these younger players and lesser players it's kind of house money for them. And they're coming into a big event. If they can get the final 64, all of a sudden they've reached a money level that they don't usually reach just for re-hitting 64. So there's a lot of these underdog players playing pretty loose, and you can feel things tighten up on some of these better players as they get behind early, as like some of these guys
Yeah.
did. And
That's
Federer
what
was
I was
down 8 to
wondering.
1.
Yeah.
And you can kind of just see it was like, man, he looked lost out there. And now they're up against it. Now they got a couple of quick chances to make that final 64. Otherwise, they're all going home early. Carlos playing, Dang right now. How do you like that for a first round
He's
losers
down. He,
bracket match?
he's down 4-2 right now to Dang.
5-2, 5-2.
5-2.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, how
So
crazy would
it's,
that be? Carlo would have been a top three betting favorite, top five maybe at worst betting
top
favorite.
five, maybe top
Yeah,
five. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
coming into
it
the
could be
event,
2 and home.
and now he could be, yeah. I mean, already on his way back home to the Philippines here in a little bit. So I mean, it's pretty
And listen,
surprising.
we talked about this, before about, um, having watched the UK Open where you had 4 guys make the final 4 that were not expected, all
Right.
good players, but not where you expected. And this whole field is like that. There's a lot of really good players that you wouldn't expect to be there, and a couple of them, could end up there. I mean, it could end up being you still have to get through, to single elimination. So it could end up all being chalk in the end. Nobody's been eliminated yet, but it would not surprise me if 2 of the final 4 were guys outside of the top 16.
What do you say, Sam? What do you
Uh,
make of that comment by Mike?
to conform to what Mike just said. I've been walking around and talking to local players here, and I had one question, and I asked him, "Do you think the winner of this is someone who already won the World Pool Championship or a totally new player?" And the majority, and I say 100%, they're expecting a new trophy holder
Yeah,
altogether, all new. Yeah.
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 That's
I buy that.
surprising. You got guys like Filler, Shane. You got some guys with Albin Ocean, who's already on the one loss side earlier today. I mean, those are some guys with some serious credentials there. And you know what? But I think I'm with you though, Sam, and I think I'm with all those people who you talk to because, and not just from like an odd standpoint, right? But like you see that the gap is lessening from the
Yes.
top players versus like the middle of the pack players. And I'm
Yes.
and I'm
Yeah,
agreeing a little bit with what Mike is saying in that I feel like maybe that pressure to perform under this biggest stage may be a little bit too much for some of these top guys. Where if the middle guys are playing a little loose, look out, because
yeah.
the wheel it could be the Wild West, which is what I want to see, which is what I love to see. So um, give me some guys who stood out to you, Mike, in the last like 2 days. Maybe a top guy or maybe a middle of the pack guy.
Well, I mean, Jason looked pretty good. Shane looked okay. Couldn't make a ball on the break. He looked a little frustrated. He looked a little tired. There's some guys who definitely look like they've had tough time getting used to being over here. Sanchez looked very good, but I mean Jason Sanchez, they got fed some pretty good cupcakes to open the
Yeah,
event. Not that all of the local players are cupcakes. There were a couple of them who are very good, obviously, but they were heavy favorites and they kind of came through. But Mustafa Alnar, who beat Federer, and
Yes.
I
Yes.
talked to him after. He played a terrific match. The guy, and the guy can play pretty good. I mean, he plays a lot in Euro Tour events. I think he finished top 10 in the World 8 ball. He's a good player, just not known to a lot of players. So, and he played Federer really tight in the Scottish Open just a month or so ago. So, you know, he played today, ran out when he was supposed to run out, played good safes when he had the opportunity, never let Federer get going. I mean, can a guy like that string 4 or 5 of those together? Maybe not likely, but there's a lot of talent here. I mean, you've got your top 12, top 16 guys, and you've got 100 other guys who play pretty close to that level. So it
yeah.
makes for a lot of it's going to be treacherous, especially when it goes to 64 single elimination. It's going to be really tense right away.
Is that where guys are just trying to get to, Sam? You feel like where they just let me get the single and then I can breathe a little bit.
Uh,
The
I'm
guys
not
in the
sure. I
losers
don't think.
bracket are saying that. I can
Yeah,
guarantee you
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, for
I
sure.
think everyone wants to be in the safe zone. But answering your question, I was lucky to watch Manas's game with John Mora, young gun from the Philippines.
Philippines, yeah.
Oh, AJ Mans,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Yes, he was playing on the main TV table, very comfortable, looked very loose, and he was leading most of the match until Mora was able to actually turn up and make the comeback. But there's some real talent in there. And this, like, I had a talk with Coach Johan, and I was like, these Filipino players play in really like brutal conditions there with the humidity in the Philippines. But when they come here with all the slick conditions, they're still fly. But he told me that they changed now. All these young players, all the youth players are playing on better equipment, better conditions. So, but he looked very loose. He looked like he belonged in the TV table.
Who are some other players that are standing out to you, Sam? Like similar to what I asked Mike.
There's a player. I also was speaking to Coach Johan, and I said keep an eye on him. There's a player from Iraq. His name is Amir. Amir is another solid player. Very calm. Doesn't get to practice a lot. I can understand and the financial problems, but he's very strong. He played with Alex Pagulayan, won his first match against Alex, and he performed well under all these circumstances. So we look forward also.
Who is this guy? Hamza Ali, and I'm probably butchering
Yeah,
his name here.
yeah,
He
yeah.
took
Hamza.
who is this guy? Because he's
Yeah.
up
Lim.
4-1 on Rhoda. He was, and I forgot who he was played in his first round, but I remember
He had
he.
Chua buried.
That's what it was. That
He
was the
had
match.
Chua
Yeah,
buried. It was 8-6 or 8-7, and he had a ball in hand on the 2 with 3-9 sitting there and
Yeah,
played the
it's
3-9, and
he
the cue ball
actually.
went to the side rail and into the side
Yeah.
pocket. And then he hit in the final rack, case rack. He had 3 opportunities on the 9 and couldn't get it done. I felt really bad for him, but he's a young player from
Eritrea.
Eritrea,
Eritrea.
right? Which
Yes.
which
East Africa.
99% of pool fans wouldn't even know it exists.
never heard of that
But
word before in my life,
but
Mike.
Exactly.
it's it's
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a relatively it's a relatively new country. It's actually part of what used to be Ethiopia, so it's right across the Red Sea from here. But he's a solid player, and he actually played. He actually stayed with Chua in the Philippines earlier this year when he went over there for a couple of weeks to practice and train and things like that. So they were familiar with him. And he played a terrific match until the end, and then the wheels just kind of came off, and I felt bad for him. But these are the stories between him and who beat David Alcade.
Abdullah
uh,
Shamari.
yeah.
Abdullah
Al
Shamari.
Shamiri. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me add
So
a little story about Hamza. Hamza actually, Saudi Arabia, they have the Saudi Games, and they have done it for two years in a row, and they have all these different sports, and the top prize is 1 million Saudi riyals. And Hamza was the winner of the first edition, so he's
Really?
got the first million in pool. And Abdullah Shemari had last year's one
What's the
million.
conversion of
So
that million?
right,
What's the conversion of that million?
about $270,000.
25 grand.
Woo!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Is
So
this the
these
guy who beat Khalid in the finals?
Yes. Exactly.
That's the guy.
That's the guy who beat
Yeah.
Khalid in the
I
final. Yeah.
remember
That's right.
that.
Yeah.
I remember that tournament, but I didn't remember who the hell won. I remember Khalid got 6 figures just for placing second. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, so
Khalid
he
got
can play.
300,000. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He
So
actually
yeah,
is the
they
coach.
can play.
What was that, Mike?
I said they can play, and listen, if you're, I always look at the storyline part of it and the
For sure.
marketing part of it. And listen, if you're Matchroom, you would have loved to have seen him win that match last night. You want to see these guys, a couple of these guys make the final 64, and because this, part of this whole 10-year plan is about helping develop the talent and grow the talent in the Middle East and in Saudi Arabia. And so you want to see a couple of these guys break through and start to get some local media coverage and start to get people want to come out here and watch this and cheer on a local player, a national player, or a regional player.
Right.
That's all good for the sport. It's good for the tournament. I hope a couple of these guys, certainly make the final 64. I'd love to see a couple of them, make a little bit of a splash and see what kind of, leverage the event can get out of that.
Well, we've seen guys in that region perform really well, across multiple stages in pool. Guys like we think about Omar Al Shaheen. You think about
The
guys like
Kuwaitis,
Bader
obviously.
and Abdullah
Right.
Al Shamiri, like we talked about earlier. There's guys in those regions who can play. Khalid, obviously, and so and it's not just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like it's great for them being local stories and all, but we've seen these guys do well outside of the region, which gives you that much more hope now that the event's going to be there consistently over the
Right.
course of the
Well,
next 10 years.
and that's the thing. When you do bring them to the region consistently, and all of a sudden you've got 20 Saudis and 30, total from the Middle East, a couple of them are going to crack through. It's like if you had an event in, the Philippines and there were 400 Filipinos, you're going to see a lot of names that you didn't recognize because they don't go
Right.
to all these other events around the world. Or when they do, it's hard on them to make that kind of trip and excel. So having more events here in this region, of course, is gonna make it easier for them to perform better, make them more comfortable, and then you start to see them inching up the ladder a little bit.
What's been the excitement level like, Sam, from the locals? Local players, local fans, kids, things like that.
They're very much excited, and I have some friends that come in because some people there they still have jobs to go to. So after they finish their duties, they come here. But another thing is this is an examination week for people in school. Uh, college college student has finished, so they're out here. But we're looking towards the end of the week. More school kids will be finished from school, and they'll be turning out. That's the only part that
This
is. They're calling me. What's happening? It's like, and the tickets, Mike. They're really affordable, especially for the gold area. You got hospitality. I'm sitting at the lounge, and you can go closer to different kind of tables if you want to get up close and personal. They love it, and they're very much excited. Yes.
There
Awesome.
was a lot of local press here for the press conference and on the first day, opening ceremony, things like that. So I haven't really looked to see how that's translated into, column inches and minutes on, news channels, things like that. But there is, there has been some excitement, some interest generated here, and it's a 10. The great thing is it's a 10-year deal. So you've got time to kind of develop and build up. They built an enormous, beautiful fan zone outside to entice people and kids to come in the evening and play around on some tables and have an ice cream truck with scoops of ice cream that each one is a different color for the balls and just things like that. It's really cool. They've really gone over the
How do I
top to
go to
help.
these events where I'm stuck in a janitor's closet and you guys are over there eating ice cream and
Yeah, you got to pick your spots, brother.
I know, man. Luckily, I got the passport on the way, so next year, save me a seat out there in the media room because I plan on going for sure.
Listen, they've got a couple
Definitely.
big tour buses. They've got a couple big tour buses with signage splashed on the side that they're bringing people to and from the hotel. And I said, listen, take a couple of those buses to a local school, pack them with kids, and bring them over here because, I think if kids got in here, they would get excited about it. It would be kind of like their thing, their sport. I mean, I saw
Yes.
that. And that's how they built the Moscone Cup. The first year Moscone Cup was come in for free, and all these kids would come in groups, and they loved it, and they were enthusiastic, and it brought an energy level, and so you can do that here, and like I said, you've got 10 years to start to build it and get to a level where people start fighting for seats in here because it is a great event, it's a great venue, and so you want to see them generate some enthusiasm around it.
Do you feel like that growth is realistic, Sam, for that region and pool?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because the federation now is one of their main focus areas is to bring and develop young and youth players. They want new blood. They're spending. The pool is gone into the sporting clubs. Sporting clubs are known to have football, basketball, but nobody really look into pool. But pool has penetrated over the last 3 years, and you have players that having salaries now. So it's going towards the professional. Yeah, still at early days, but we're starting to look at it taking shape and form.
It's all a
27.
process, Mike. You know
Well,
that.
yeah. I mean, listen. Years ago, they were saying, give us faith, right? We're going to deliver. We're going to build this thing up into a proper tour. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it's
Yeah.
starting to like finally, you're getting out of that storm, and you're starting to see like the beauty that's left afterwards. You know what I mean? And you're seeing big events like this. You're seeing, events across the world pop up, and look, I for one am just thrilled that players are going to get opportunity to earn more money, and I hope there's a trickle down effect in these other regions where now they want to step up and say, "Hey, listen, I don't want to be the lowest prize fund on Matchroom's calendar." You know what I mean? And then by default, they'll step up their game. That's what I'm hoping for, and for the sake of these players. But then you just got the pressure and the excitement and the competition. I mean, Carlos down 7-3 now
Yeah.
to Dang, and we know Dang's a champion. But listen, to
Yeah.
start off the event, I was talking with I forgot who the hell it was, but I was talking with somebody, and maybe it was you, Mike. I don't remember. But I said I'm picking two names, two name guys, and one of them was Carlo and Federer. Both of them now are on the one loss side. So I'm gonna ask you guys,
Yeah, you
give
didn't
me
you didn't have that conversation with me because I would have bet you a dinner on that.
on Carlo and Federer. I would have taken it. I probably would have taken it. Now that you guys are afforded the opportunity of seeing the competition and seeing these guys on the one loss side. Sam, I want to start with you. Let's start off with two name players you think got a chance to win this event. or that you'd pick to win this event?
If it was earlier today, I would have said one of them would have been Fedor. But I still think Joshua might still have a say in this, and I can't have a name, but maybe one of the Asian players.
Oh no, we need names, Sam. We need names. We gotta
You
write a
gotta
ticket
name
on it.
names.
Yeah, yeah,
Name
yeah,
names.
yeah.
Um, this might be a wild one because this is what I told my wife before come in here, and I said put your eyes on Johan Choa.
I like it. After he survives the first one, Mike, who do you got?
I got P.S. Labutis.
Ooh, okay.
He played great. He played great, and he looks great. And he's a Johan guy too, and Johan's here, so I just like where he sits right now. People are going to be watching all the other matches, and he's just going to be able to go about his business. So I like him getting deep, and yeah, I mean you can't go against Josh until someone tells you otherwise. Until someone knocks him out. So he's a guy who looks very determined here and ready to play. And Shane, I mean, it's not an American thing. It's just you see these guys and they come in here and they play their match and you see them out shopping and they go here, they do this, they do that. Shane leaves this place and he goes to a local pool and he
Yes,
pounds
yes,
balls for like
yes,
7 more hours.
yes.
That's how you get to be Shane. And there's there's another guy whose determination level is like off the charts. So I'd love to see him take a deep run too, as usual.
Well, I mean, everyone knows that name sitting across from whenever it's SVB or Josh. I wouldn't be surprised if either one of them were there playing on the last day. Little Co is another one now, especially since my two
Yeah,
picks are on the one loss side.
Big Co
Listen,
too. Played good coming back on Ignacio.
another former champion. And Federer, listen, Federer's obviously going to have everyone's respect until he's out of the tournament. But playing Thien in the loser side is no walk in the park. I mean, that Vietnamese guy can play some great pool. So there may be a chance where maybe he doesn't survive his first day in
He
the World
looked
Championship.
terrible
Would just be
today, so
wild.
that's what worries me the most. He looked terrible in that match against
Yep.
Elmer.
He looked tense, very tense, and
Mentally, he just looked like he wasn't involved. He wasn't just flinging at balls or anything, but he just looked out of sorts.
Well, I like the pick in Labutis, Mike. That was my dark horse pick starting off. But if you think about guys who over the last 5 months are consistent, find me a guy who's been more consistent in the events that he's played in
Yeah,
outside of PS because you won't get
he's
very
been
far on
knocking
that
that.
list.
Yeah, he's been knocking on that door. Robbie Capito, speaking of, guy, he looked really good today.
Well, there's going to be a ton of action coming up in the next few days. What are we getting down to tomorrow? Is tomorrow going to be just winter qualification? Is that how it's
Tomorrow,
going to work?
tomorrow is the second round of losers and winners qualification.
yes.
Well, there's a ton of matches that are just looking juicy that I'm going to be watching. A ton of matches that are going on right now that I'm going to sweat you guys. Mike and Sam, I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me today. Hopefully you guys are going to be free. Well, by the way, before I let you guys go, when does this thing start tomorrow? Because I thought it was starting the same time as it was day one, and I woke up that matches were
No,
already going on.
day one they didn't even start till 7 o'clock in the evening.
So what time
They
are we
just
starting
had a
tomorrow?
little 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so
Saudi
that
time.
That's what they started today, 1 o'clock in the afternoon Saudi time.
Yes.
It's 5 o'clock in the
well, you act
morning.
like I'm over here in South Texas. I mean, I need a little bit of help from my guys out there on the ground floor. Mike, a little heads up would have been nice, buddy.
Wait a second. Wait a second. You're the guy who busts everybody's balls when they ask when the matches start and where you can watch them, right? Look at the
You could
schedule,
ask me,
son.
Mike.
Look at
You
the
know who your friends
schedule.
are.
They've got it.
Yeah.
You posted the whole event guide today on Windows Open. Read it.
Look, I'm gonna go through and take a look. I'm gonna be up at 5 a.m. sweating all the matches. I'm gonna be sweating them today. Ray and I are gonna have a recap show going over the matches from today as well. Are you guys gonna be free at all to come back on the next couple of days?
Yes, sure.
Of course.
All right, we're gonna follow up with you guys. I appreciate all you guys for hanging out with us. Big shout out to all of our
Thanks.
sponsors who help make the show happen. And Sam and Mike, we appreciate you boys. We'll talk to you guys soon, and have a great rest of your night,
All right,
guys.
take care.
Bye. Bye.